Welcome to Family Companies with Dr. EBRU KARPUZOÐLU's TV show. Today, our TV show's topic is communication between generations. We are talking about some subjects such as what are the barriers to intergenerational communication? If cultural differences are added to these communication conflicts, how can communication be managed? What temporary, permanent, and verbal, non-verbal communication tools can be used in communication conflicts? How can communication between generations be strengthened? Who should be responsible for this task? My guest is dear Anita Brİghtley-HODGES. Anita is the owner and president of a family business consultancy firm from the United Kingdom. First of all, I'm going to give you some information about the communication in family companies. Then I'm going to ask Anita Brİghtley-HODGES to answer some questions. I'm honored that my dear friend Anita is a guest in our program. Thank you so much, Anita. Communication is the act of conveying meanings from one entity or group to another through the use of mutually understood signs, symbol, and semiotic rules. As it is understood communication, which is the process of transferring data, information, emotions, understanding, and thought from one person to another person, who requires the sender's message to be understood in the same way by the recipient and or acted in accordance with the sender's instructions. It's much more important for these companies because of the characteristics of family companies. In family companies, around the generations between men and women, between those who are related to the family by a bloodline and by a marriage, between family members and non-family members, between nuclear families, between the major shareholders and minor shareholders, between the future president of the board and the other younger generations, between the siblings, conflicts may occur due to miscommunication. The inability to resolve communication conflicts is one of the biggest factors in the sustainability of family companies, especially if there are frustrations, belief in injustice, high egos, sense of worthlessness, lack of self-confidence. If family is crowded and if family and family-related issues are getting completed, these conflicts get more violent. Even if the most ideal systems for institutionalization of family and family companies are created, unless the communication in the emotional structure is straightened, it is not possible to use these systems effectively and efficiently. Therefore, it is necessary to focus on communication in order to raise the level of institutionalization to gaining a sustainable competitive advantage, to strengthen family unity, to achieve the balance of family and company. For this purpose, some issues should be taken into consideration. The cause of miscommunication should be researched. Messages should be given in that way that the other side can understand clearly. It should be listened without any prejudice and should be become bona fide. In communications conflicts originating or depending from the past, therapies should be started individually or as a family thought psychologist, psychiatrists, personal development specialists, or coaches. Multi-directional communication channels should be used. For this purpose, verbal, nonverbal, and body language communication should be given importance. Creativity should be supported. Written communication channels should be used in the family and family companies. For this purpose, the family and family companies' web page should be edited. Email addresses for the family and family companies should be identified. Family constitution on the family web page, regulations used in the implementation of the constitution, procedures, forms, family council and family council incoming, outgoing paperwork file, docket and meeting reports, photos, videos, entrepreneurs' family message should be included. Messages should be archived. A meeting management system should be created for the family council, family assembly, general assembly, and board of directors. On special occasions, such as the anniversary of the founding of the family company and the wedding anniversary of the parents, formal and informal organization should be held. Projects such as family and family company magazines should be developed in order to increase communication of the younger generation and to understand their business performance. Relationship and communication regulation should be prepared. Digital platforms and a social media platforms management system should be formed. Presentation and reporting techniques seminars should be given. Contracts such as company main contract, family constitution, partial renunciation inheritance or renunciation inheritance, property regime or marriage contract, board of directors service contract, share contract should be arranged. The family council and the board of directors should be structured in order to discuss conflicting and targeted issues related to family and family company. The importance of listening and empathy should be emphasized. Studies should be carried out the succession management process out between generations, the system of promotion appointment within the family company, the determination of authority and responsibility, the transfer of authority, and the use of initiate. As it is understood, the regulation of relationships and communication with the essentiality of being a family and the rationality of being a family company must be balanced and blended very well. So, the elders of the family have an important task. They should set an example for future generations with their words and actions, as well as take responsibility for creating a communication and relationship management system, which is one of the essential requirements for the institutionalization of the family and family company. Now, first of all, we are going to ask Anita to introduce herself. Then we are going to ask her to answer some questions. These questions are: what are the barriers to intergenerational communication? If cultural differences are added to these communication conflicts, how can communication be managed? What temporary, permanent, and verbal, non-verbal communication tools can be used in communication conflicts? How can communication between generations be strengthened? Who should be responsible for this task? What tools should be used to improve communication? How? How can communication between the same generation be strengthened? Could you give us some examples of your experiences?
Hi, I'm Anita Brightly-Hodges. I'm founder and chairman of Family Business Place and a specialist family business advisor to families around the globe. I'm delighted to be here with you and EBRU on your show to share my experience and expertise. In this episode, we will be discussing the tricky topic of communication between the generations. The Guinness Book of Records cites 7 living generations in the same family. Wow. In order for us to understand why tensions arise between generations, it's helpful to identify the traits that each generation has and to ask the questions. What are the characteristics in each generation? Why is it that we are this way? And how can generations understand the various preferred forms of communication when building loving, appreciative, caring, supportive, engaged, meaningful and strong relationships? Let's begin with what is termed the traditionalists. This term applied to those born between 1922 and 1943, prior to World War II. Their lives were shaped by the conflict and the Great Depression. The baby boomers span 1943 to 1960, and I count myself as a boomer. We grew up influenced by the past and post-World Wars and the move to prosperity, huge social change, and as a result, we all had a positive attitude towards the future. Now, Generation X were born between 1960 and 1980, the first population to grow up with personal computers and the information age, a generation impacted by social and economic change, less secure about the world and more independently minded and self-reliant. Millennials are born between 1980 and 2000, seen as the most educated, connected, confident and independent generation to date. And finally, Generation Z, in the wake of the millennials born between 1995 and 2009, otherwise described as digital natives. Their personalities have evolved through being connected 24/7. Technology is an addiction, but the ability to connect and form strong peer-to-peer relationships has never been harder. So these are the characteristics of, and a small glimpse into the wider differences between the generations, and they provide fertile ground for disconnect or potential conflict. In addition to these potential conflicts, we can throw in a handful of cultural differences into the mix. The world is a global village, and as with small communities, there is a propensity to misunderstand and to be ignorant, for fake news, prejudice and conflict. In my view, there is no quick and easy way to fix in managing the complexities of communication. There is, however, a need to see the world through another's eyes, listening rather than simply hearing, finding common ground, having empathy, and to really have your neighbour's best interests at heart. There needs to be a way to have a share of voice, to be respected, and to seek out a win-win solution in difficult scenarios. How to manage conflict in communication is a selfless act, and kindness is a habit worth having. There are many tools family members can use to open the lines of communication and keep them open. The family plan, constitution, charter, blueprint is a fantastic objective to achieve. The journey is what's important. There is a period of discovery. What does each person want in life? And from the family business, how can we align our values as they are believed and lived? Relationships are a two-way thing, and time put aside to nurture relationships is a no-brainer. Things don't happen by accident or on their own. There needs to be a powerful shared vision for the future, which is achieved and articulated via various channels, and an open mind to receive different opinions and show respect. A governance structure can be visualised and verbalised. A variety of forums will encourage small groups of shareholders and other stakeholders to participate in shaping the business and providing for innovation. By creating a family board as well as an operating board will allow boundaries to be set and different priorities and agendas to be discussed, with negative decision making and outcomes all included. It's easy to say that everyone should be responsible for good communication. Success comes from good leadership and has no age limit. Energy, passion, and the will to succeed is what drives good communication. Identify a person in the family who is positive, has a kind heart, someone who listens and seems to draw people to them easily. Shine a light on someone with a sense of humour who can be relied on and who always shows up. Communication is the key to a successful business and a happy family. The one for the job is a natural and would relish the opportunity to make a difference. Okay, so a focus on the business can be a convenient distraction from the more sensitive and challenging task of good communications. We all like to enjoy ourselves outside of work and in the family. There are many creative ways of engaging and organising social get-togethers, mixed sharing with learning and fun retreats. There are expeditions to be explored and good works to be done. I defy anyone who can't think of something that will light a spark and strengthen the family bonds. Families from all over the world will have cultural differences and protocols that should be treated with respect. Listening, sharing, learning, appreciating, and the ability to build relationships is fundamental between generations from any background, colour, or religion. Our differences are what make us who we are, and they form our behaviours and our beliefs. But across all walks of life and around the globe, this quote from business guru Sir John Harvey Jones says it all. Family businesses where everyone working together and where there is a great deal of mutual respect for each other's contribution can suffer from a lack of frankness. It can sometimes happen that the bonds of love and respect are so strong that individuals are constrained from saying what they feel for fear of treading on someone else's cherished aspirations. Communication between members of the same generation can always be strengthened and improved. We all need to be valued and respected by our other friends and our relatives and our colleagues and the family and the business. Take the time to get to know each other, find common ground, discover each other's gifts and talents, and just do the stuff together from time to time, outside of the business or on a special project at work. It takes two to tango. Okay, so in my business, I work alongside two of my daughters. My eldest, Amalia, has recently taken over as managing director, whilst my youngest daughter, Olympia, is our head of design and marketing. I can think of nothing better than coming to work and seeing my children every day. We all work to our strengths, enjoy each other's company, tackle seemingly insurmountable problems together, and have complete respect in each other's abilities. We thrive on energy, expertise, passion, kindness, support, and love. The thirst for success in our business runs through our veins. My girls inspire me every day, and I am mentored by them, especially with technology and new ways of working. We have set boundaries so that where we work, we are colleagues. When the office door is closed at the end of the day, we revert to being mum and daughters. As a family, we run together, we eat together, we relax together, and find purpose in fundraising. We all have hobbies outside of work and support each other's endeavours. As a team of girls, we now share the childcare between us. What a privilege and unimaginable return on investment.
we would like to thank Anita Brİghtley-HODGES for answering our questions and sharing her valuable knowledge with us. Thank you so much, Anita. Today, we have talked about communication between generations in our TV show. See you on our next TV show. Goodbye.